just have come back from the weirdest library experience I've had in a wee while. Hello everyone, my name is Bethany and welcome back to this book nook. Today I am talking to you guys about my June TBR pile. If you don't know, I have only just recently, we moved to Australia about 6 months ago. We moved into our new home, our apartment, about 4 weeks ago, and today I signed up for the local library, which means for the first time in honestly a long time I've had a physical TBR pile, and in all honesty I am so excited to go through these books with you. But I had the weirdest experience because it's a decently small library. It's not hella small, but it's decently small, and they decided to not bother organizing the books in the library by genre for the fiction. So I was looking at a shelf and I was reading like this, as you do, and it went from fantasy books to romance to literary books to science fiction, and it was just so weird because I'm so used to my brain thinking, okay, what fantasy books are familiar, and now it's just like the whole world. It was weird. You know when you have a nightmare and things start to go wrong? Or like in a horror movie, everything seems okay, but there's one little like glitch in the system. That's what it felt like to me. What is my hair doing? That's what it felt like to me going to the library. However, I'm really excited to be able to pair books with bookmarks again. So that's what I'm intending on doing in this video. It's going to be a little bit of a twist. I'm going to show you the books, tell you a quick little bit about them, and then pair them with a bookmark, because I do not have it with me. Let me go get it. Bookmark mug with me. So I've got all my bookmarks and I have recently purchased a few. So, oh my god, wait, I actually forgot to tell you guys. This is my literal, are you alright? This is my like literal book nook. This is where I sit. I've got a lamp, a blanket, a footrest here. I am going to get bookshelves here eventually, but I don't know what that's going to look like. And eventually a rug as well. Also, if you hear trains in the background, I'm sorry. We live right near a train station right now. And honestly, it's not that bad, but sometimes the brakes at night can seem loud. Anyway, enough rambling. Let's get into it. Okay, we are starting off strong with a genre choice, and this is for the mystery genre, of which I picked up Still House Lake by Rachel Kane, which is the first in the Still House Lake series. By the way, if you're new to this channel, the way I normally do them now that I have library access is I'll spin the wheels at home, go to the library, and figure out like what I can pick up. So that's how I've got these books. These are all library books. Anyway, Still House Lake. I originally saw this from Books in Lala. This is about Gina. Now, Gina gets in a car crash and somehow through that car crash finds out that her husband is a serial killer. Of course, this comes with a lot of trauma, and I shouldn't be smiling. Serious. Comes with a lot of trauma. Don't cancel me. And she has to go from Gwen to Gwen the Protector for her children's sake. Now, what Gwen does is she kind of adopts an alternate reality, goes to a different place, and kind of remakes her life. However, what happens is that people somehow figure out where she lives. I think is the point. She gets like threatening mail, and all of these things rise to the surface, including a dead body in a lake, and it's all like linked to her somehow, although she's like denying it. There's internet trolls and all of that really disturbed jazz that the internet can froth up sometimes. So what bookmark for this one? Alright, I'm going to go with this bookmark because it's giving me the strong female figure and the colour of orange and blue links into it. I got this from a local bookstore in Palmerston North, and the brand is at No Though, if anyone's interested. Okay. Oh, my heart is so happy. Alright, next spin. Editing me here, I forgot to explain that this meets the prompt because the weapon on the cover is in the title. It is the word poison. That's how it fits the prompt. Alright, next up is A Magic Steeped in Poison, and I'm just really excited about the bookmark because I have the perfect one here. See the koi fish in the bookmark, and then the fish, and then this has a little dangly. Like, I'm sorry, but that is not the definition of perfect. Anyway, this is a young adult, like, I want to say historical urban fantasy novel, and it follows our main character called Ning. Now, Ning is like a tea making apprentice, which is a huge deal because the tea in this world has magical properties to it, and it can heal and it can save and it can strengthen people, kind of like a potion in a way. And basically what happens is, very sadly, there is somebody in Ning's world who is sending out poison bricks of tea leaves, and unfortunately Ning makes this brew for her mother and sister without realizing, of course, and her mother passes away and her sister is fighting for her life. However, what Ning decides to do is go to the royal palace pretending to be her sister, who is meant to be the tea apprentice person, but obviously she's like dying, and Ning goes to the palace, enters a tea making competition with the wish to win, because then she gets a boon, and the boon would be to save her sister's life, obviously. It also is going to have a romance subplot element to it, as described by the mysterious young man on the back, so that's like an obvious romance subplot. Not gonna lie, was originally drawn to this book for this cover. Like, do you blame me? It is beautiful. And then this is going to be the bookmark. Oh. Okay, spin number 3 of 10, by the way. But then I also went a bit crazy at the library and have more books than I have spins, but we'll get to that later. Spin number 3. Okay, second chance author. To clarify what this means, it means an author that I have read from before, whose book I didn't immediately fall in love with. As I have already mentioned, my local library is kind of small. It's not bad, to be honest. They have a pretty good selection of books considering it's just a little suburban library. But I did struggle to find some of the ones I was thinking of. For example, like Emily Henry books. I have read one of her books, Beach Reading, didn't like it, and read one of her books. Oh gosh, what was it? The one I really liked. Editing me will put it up here. And I wanted to read one for other books but couldn't find it. But what I did manage to find is Emily St. John Mandel's The Glass Hotel. To be honest, it's a very similar situation to the Emily Henry one. I did not like Station 11, but I have recently read... okay, why are all the good book titles escaping my mind at the moment? Again, editing me will put it up here. I recently read this one and quite liked it. So I'm kind of trying to figure out if I like Emily St. John Mandel or not, if the Station 11 was just a blip or not. Considering how many people liked that book, I was kind of underwhelmed by it, but then I really liked her other one. But anyway, this one, The Glass Hotel. In classic Emily Mandel fashion, there's lots of characters to it, so I am basically going to read off the blurb for this one. Vincent is a female bartender at this really famous, fancy, swaggy hotel. And then you have Jonathan, who owns the hotel. Jonathan hands Vincent his card to give her a tip, and then it's the beginning of their life together. So there is a romance element to this. They just have a mystery sign on the back, so where's the mystery? You then have a hooded figure. The hooded figure scrolls a note on the windowed wall of the hotel saying, "Why don't you swallow broken glass?" A pretty good threat, to be honest. And then you've got Leon Prevant, a shipping executive for a company, who sees the note and is shaken to his core. And then you've got 13 years later, where Vincent mysteriously disappears. So it sounds quite convoluted, and to be honest, that's where I have found her books had in the past. Station 11, I just wasn't interested in all the different components of it. So I'm very intrigued, but I'm trying to go into this positively because I did like her other book. It works really well. Okay, this is meant to be like a snow globe and there's a little house in it, but to me this is like a glass little hotel, and then the colours work pretty well too. Okay, that's cool. Right, spin number 4. Okay, this is one of those times where I could not find a physical book because I really wanted to read 1984. It has been a banned book in its history, and it's also a book I've been wanting to read for a long time. It's been on and off my TBR piles for quite a while. So 1984 is by George Orwell. It inspired the show Big Brother, where basically you are in a dystopian world, but everyone can see you. That's the dystopian element. You've got absolutely no privacy. And to be honest, that's all I know about the book from the top of my head, and that's all I want to know going in. Obviously it's an ebook, so I will not have a bookmark for it. So let's go into spin number 5. Ugly cover. I love this one because it kind of turns this trope of don't judge a book by its cover on its head, because I am now picking a book because I think it's ugly. And for this one I went with The Bridgerton, book 2, The Viscount Who Loved Me. I loved book 1, but I hate this sort of cover. It's, I mean, to be fair, it's the Netflix cover, although I'm pretty sure that is not Anthony there, the actor. But yes, this is book 2 in the Bridgerton series. It follows Anthony. And what I really enjoyed about the first book is how when the very obvious couple get married, you see after their marriage what's going on. So with this book, I'm hoping I get the same thing, because I like the uncliched after marriage, because there's no happy ever after, at least in the first one. So I'm really hoping it continues with this. As mentioned, this is the Bridgertons. It follows a family which has 8 siblings in it, and the first book was on the eldest female, and this book is on the eldest male, Anthony. He wants to marry. He's not looking for love. He's just looking for, like, what's the word I'm looking for here? He feels very responsible for his family because his dad passed away when he was 17-ish, so he's like the head honcho of the family, the one responsible for the finances and all of that stuff. So he kind of is just wanting a woman to be his wife to fulfill that role, but of course he ends up falling in love with the sister, not his sister, the person he wanted to marry originally. Sister. Choosing a bookmark. I think for this one, we're going to go with this bookmark. It's just giving me the vibes. It's just giving me, do you see this? Do you see the vibe? Do you see the vibe? Very much blue at the moment. Next spin. Book Talk book. Okay, so when I went over on my TikTok account, I actually don't watch that many Book Talk videos. It's kind of the one platform I have where I don't actually post book things. I post like get ready with me things, so it's indulging the fashion side of my hobbies, but sometimes things come through. And one thing that came through, which I was able to pick up, was the Guncle. I have seen this around as like a happy romancy kind of book, and it's LGBT, which fits right in. I'm pretty sure it's Pride Month, so it fits right in with that kind of a theme. And this is about a gay uncle. Guncle. I'd never heard the term before. Apparently, like, it's a proper term you call your gay uncles. Who knew? Not me. So in this book, our main character is gay Uncle Patrick, Gup for short. Now, tragically, Patrick's young niece and nephew, 6 and 9 years old, their mother passes away, extremely tragic, unexpectedly. Then their father has a bit of a health crisis of his own. Patrick finds himself looking after the 2 kids. The thing is, as much as he loves them, he doesn't feel like ready for parenthood. He didn't, I mean, the blurb didn't say if he wanted children or not, but it does say that his lifestyle doesn't really fit in with children's lifestyle. He's got his own trauma and experiences that he's working through himself. And so it's a story about, I guess maybe it's not that happy. It's a story about family and coming together to support. And I'm hoping there's a few laughs in here because, I don't know, the cover, if this turns out to be really dark, I'm going to be kind of mad at the cover because this is not giving me super duper dark. So, yeah. Oh, bookmark. Oh, immediately it shouts out to me. It's got to be this one, right? I don't have heaps and heaps of, I say I don't have heaps of bookmarks. I have more than one could possibly need. But, you know, I don't have one to perfectly fit every single theme. So I'm feeling this because he's drinking a drink there and you put slices of fruit in your drinks and it feels kind of fruity and summery. Let's go for spin number 7. All right, and we have the horror genre, which I'm excited for because I have been meaning to read Mexican Gothic ever since I saw it everywhere on Bookstagram. I saw it everywhere when it came out, and when it came out, I wasn't really staying up with the trends. I mean, to be fair, I don't do that now. I don't really read absolute new releases at the moment, and I haven't for a very long time. I'm not the kind of reader unless I'm anticipating the books that's coming out, but I'm more than happy waiting a few years to get my hands on it at the library, and that's what I did with Mexican Gothic. This is giving me Crazy Rich Asians, but a different cultural group and a different genre, so actually kind of different, but it's giving me that vibe somehow. Our main character is called Naomi, I think that's how you say her name, and she's basically elegant, sophisticated. I want to say she's the cool auntie who doesn't have like her own kids but goes out and like goes to cocktail parties and stuff like that. Now her cousin calls her up frantically asking for help, like, yo cuz my husband's slowly murdering me via poison. So Naomi rocks up and she turns her cocktail gowns into a mysterious detective outfit, not literally, you know, metaphors here, and tries to figure out what's going on. So it's kind of giving me this sass. I think that's what I'm getting, maybe a bit of the sass. There's the riches there's all this money going on in the background, but something's not quite right. And Naomi's only friend who's helping here is the family's youngest son. No idea. I was going to say if that would be a romance, but they'd still be related, right? Okay, hopefully there's no incest in this book. But it sounds like he's got mysterious things going on as well and holding back secrets. So I guess it's a mysterious horror novel. What picture did it? They put a fantasy picture. Honestly, this library was a bit like a slight nightmare in a weirdly not too bad way. Anyway, Mexican Gothic. What bookmark? Okay, for some reason it's this one which is calling out to me. I think the green, but also like the mushrooms could be like poisonous, right? You could grind up mushrooms and plants and like poison someone. Also the green little ribbon has kind of sold it for me. Looks like I've intentionally matched my books to my blanket. I promise I'm not that crazy. Spin number 8. This one is going to be another ebook. I believe it's the last ebook in my list so far, and this is for the anthology collection, and it's going to be Pandora's Jar. Now I'm pretty certain this got recommended to me by one of you guys. I think. I'm just fact checking. I mean, obviously it's Greek mythology. It says Pandora's Jar, but I got my notes. By notes, I mean I looked up the Goodreads blurb. Basically, this is written... Oh, it's just tied us on his chair. I thought it was raining. This is written by Natalie Haynes, and she's kind of retelling these stories to make the women no longer feel like they always need the man to save them. You alright, babe? Just wheeling in here. What are you getting? Can I have one of my drinks, please, babe? Okay, this is what we've got. I've not had them before. Let's have a sip. Pretty good. So, this anthology takes Greek creation myths as her starting point and then is retelling the 4 great mythic sagas: the Trojan War, the Royal House of Thebes, Jason and the Argonauts, Heracles. And she puts the female characters on equal footing with the menfolk. And that's all I want to get into. I don't know all that much about Greek mythology. As much as I read it, I cannot retain everybody in my head. But I'm really excited for this one, because one of my goals was to read an anthology series each month. And I don't think I read one last month, so this can like be my catch up. Anyway, moving on. This just means a reader, an author who I've read from before and like their stuff, and I am enamored with Neil Shusterman. I loved his Scythe series, and that's the only like 4 books of his that I've read, the original trilogy and then like book number 4. And I loved them all. So I picked up Dry by Neil Shusterman. Now this follows, again, a dystopia sort of vibe. Not sort of vibe, it's a dystopian. But it's really real because it doesn't deal in the future. It deals in June, which is like this month. And it follows what would happen if there was no more water. No more water. It just stopped one day. What happens? The world, of course, turns into chaos. However, it's not focused on the whole world. It is just focused in California, I believe. And our main character is Alyssa. She has a little brother. There's a neighbour next door. They don't really have anything to do with each other until, of course, they do because survival. And then there's a bunch of them. A few people get picked up on the road here and there. And long and short of it is they have to try and survive together. Things get intense. I've heard that there are trigger warnings for this, for like implied sexual assault and underage sex and stuff. So just a heads up for that. Sorry, I don't have triggers for the other books. I've not like read them yet, obviously, but I've heard about this one. So yes, I'm very intrigued because it's a very real possibility about the whole, you know, world turning to poo-poo. So, and I'm hoping it's good because I like Neil Shusterman. Let me get a bookmark. I went and grabbed this one from the bedroom. It's the only one I can feel like goes with the vibe, simply because it's just got red. It's just, yeah, I just feel like that works. It's just simple. It's minimalistic, by the way. I don't know how well this will zoom, but it's cherry blossoms technically, and those are cherry blossoms on like the stem of the bookmark. Now that was spin number 9. Spin number 10 I would normally do, however my prompt was the word other because this is Books and Lala's Buzz Wordathon prompt for June. Wow, I said that first time. I normally screw that up all the time. I've kind of ruined the effect of it now though, after just like telling you that. But anyway, other. Now I actually don't have a book for this because I cannot figure out what I want to read because I don't know what book titles have the word other in it. Like, I've searched all of my want to read books on my Goodreads, all of my series I want to start, series I need to keep reading. None of them have the word other in it. So give me your recommendations. I've done some Googling, but I just also then need to find it, probably an ebook to be fair. But let me know if you've got any recommendations. And then that leads us to the 4 extra books I picked up from the library. First one here is Anatomy. Now Anatomy is a book that if you saw my first Australia vlog, I did actually manage to borrow this from the library closest to my uncle's house, which is where I crashed for a while. And this is about 2 people. One of them wants to study medicine. One of them is like a grave robber, so it's historical. Grave robber isn't the right phrase. What do they call it? A resurrection man. Now, so her name is Hazel, but she's a woman, so they're not going to let her study medicine with the men, but she's allowed to do the exam, but she's got no bodies to practice on, so she's basically going to fail. Jack is the resurrection man who is going to help her. I'm expecting some sort of romance, but there doesn't need to be, obviously. I'm just kind of expecting that there is. The way the cover literally says Anatomy, a love story, like that's the title. I'm guessing there's going to be some romance. And then amidst all of this going on, there's also this like subplot mystery because Jack has his own problems. Strange men have been seen skulking around cemeteries. His friends are disappearing off the streets and the Roman fever is back. It just sounds really interesting to me. So in terms of a bookmark, I do have one here which I was vibing with for this. Found it. It's a sister one to the one I showed you right at the very beginning. It's just a strong woman and I think the colours go really well together. That's all it is that's drawing me to that. Next up is Obsidio. This is book 3 in the Illuminae series, which is a trilogy, and I've been meaning to read this for the longest time. I'm really trying to decrease the amount of series I have going on at the moment, and this is the last book in the series, so when I saw it there I picked it up. It is a big book, but it's really quick books to read if the first 2 books are anything to go by, although it is a brick to be carrying around with me on my commute to and back from school, so this one might just stay on my bedside table, to be honest. I don't want to get too much into this because obviously it's the third book of a series. I don't want to spoil anything, but basically what I love about this book, if I just flick through it really quickly, is it's an epistolary novel. So you have like different forms going on. It's a science fiction, out in space kind of book. Like, look at that. It's just really fun to read. It's just a fun read. And I really like the first two books. It's written by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. And I like Jay Kristoff's writing. I finally finished his bloomin', what is it, Dark Dawn series, the trilogy. And that took me ages, but I liked it. And then I read his Empire of a Vampire, loved it. Amy Kaufman, I've never read any of her own individual books before. But in terms of a bookmark for this, see how it's so shiny and iridescent? I feel like this white one just fits perfectly. It might be hard to see, but that is like iridescent there. If I can't find the stores that have done these bookmarks, by the way, I will link them down below. But that is Obsidio. Next is A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. Now, again, she is an author I've heard of but not read from. I'm just, ooh, the spine on this poor baby. What in the... I've got some glue somewhere. I might try fix it. Now, the reason why I picked this up is because it had this in it. And like, I have picked up this book before and I read about 50 pages and put it down because I wasn't in the mood for it. But I saw this and I was like, let me see what it says. And on the back, one of the librarians has written on it. So it's like a fever dream of a librarian, how it's organized. But it's got cute little staff pics. On the back, it is recommended by Connor. It says, it's dark academia at its best. He didn't capitalize the beginning of that sentence, but Connor, we'll let it slide, but come on, man. Fascinating magic structure plus world building and characters who skirt the edges of ethics. I was already familiar with this book, to be honest. I just picked it up because it was like, oh yeah, maybe this is the sign that I should finally read this. This is about a school of magic unlike any you have ever encountered. There are no teachers, no holidays. Friendships are purely strategic, and the odds of survival are never equal. Once you're inside, there are only two ways out. You graduate or you die. Oh! Now, as much as I want to use this as a bookmark, I'm going to keep it in there. Connor's grammatically... Is it grammar with an earnest capital letter? His missing capital letter can stay in there. Now, I have 3 more of those types of bookmarks. And I'm going to go with this one because it is just the most perfect colour pattern thing ever. Like, I'm sorry. I mean, to be fair, if it was gold, it'd be even more perfect. But I don't think I have... Oh, I have that one though. But that one's black. What do? Do you do the one that matches the gold or the one that matches... I feel like you go with the navy one, right? You go with the one that matches the cover. There we go. I feel like it goes this way for some reason. Do I? No, I feel like it goes that way. Okay, Deadly Education. Now, the last one which I have picked up here, which is completely... Oh gosh, hang on, let me do some rearranging. Which is the last one that I have here to share with you, and is completely random, is The Flat Share. I say random. I have heard of it before and I have seen it around. In fact, it might even be on my TBR Goodreads want to read shelf. But the reason why I picked this up is because I found that when I feel myself starting to slump, a cute, funny little romance has been a really good pick me up, and I think it's because we're in the middle of winter and it gives me a little bit of a cozy vibe reading about a romance. But this is about Tiffany and Leon. Now, they don't know each other, but they share an apartment and they sleep in the same bed, but they never see each other because one does nights and one does days. So they're constantly like crossing over, living in each other's spaces but never seeing each other, and it's a really interesting concept and something that I hope makes this book different to other romance books I read, because of course you want to experience new stories. And in all honesty, it's just that idea that's really intrigued me. Now, in terms of a bookmark for this, I don't really know. Maybe, no, I do know. We're going to go with this one. 2 hands, not quite touching. The colour scheme is not perfect, but I don't feel like this is the prettiest cover, to be honest. So we're going to go with this one. Sadly, I think the person who made these, their business is no longer a business, or it's like only in New Zealand. Otherwise I would get so many more. Maybe I should go on Etsy and look at Australian bookmarks. But anyway, that's the last book. Look at that pile, everybody. This makes me so happy. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. It has been 40 minutes I've been chatting to you guys. Hopefully editing me has been able to narrow this down to at least, half an hour. Sorry if I haven't, but I hope you've enjoyed it. You made it all the way to the end, so thank you very much. Leave a cheeky like and subscribe if you aren't already part of this book nook. Let me know what you are reading for the week, for the month. Tell me a book that you are anticipating reading. I will probably add it to my TBR because I've decided keeping a TBR under control when it's on Goodreads is too controlling, and I will just grow my TBR pile on Goodreads until it's like 1,000, and I don't care. I say that, I do care. 1,000 is too many, but I'm not being restrictive anymore. So anyway, thank you again for like the third time, Bethany, oh my god, for making it to the end of this video. Enjoy all the places you go on your own reading adventures, and I will see you in the next one. Bye team.